Inter Milan, last year's finalists, out of the Champions League at the round of 16 stage. Atleti through to the quarterfinals. From an Italian perspective, we welcome in Gab Marcotti, and just for fun, Frank Leboeuf is here as well.
Just to keep him up.
There you are. Exactly.
Just to keep him out of bed.
How would you sum this up?
I think well, we can argue, we could debate over the two games about being the better side, because certainly Inter were the better side by quite a stretch in the San Siro. But I thought Atleti deserved it on tonight's performance. Yes, Inter got a bit of a second wind in extra time, but they got pummeled near the end. I think the substitutions for Simeone were better, had more impact. Riquelme, Memphis Depay and Correa.
Correct.
Who all look really, really lively. The one frustrating thing, if you're an Atleti fan from the early possession, was the slack passing in the final third. And we know Inter have got some big, strong defenders and they're a good unit, but it was the slack passing in the final third that was the frustrating part if you're an Atleti fan, and that really let Inter off the hook a little bit. But in the end, they remedied that, and Inter had their chances on the break, particularly at the end. We saw it. It was Marcus Thuram was through, and then Barella was through. Didn't finish it off. But I think on the balance of play, for me, Inter just sat a little bit too deep for too long in that game.
The great thing about this tie compared to some of the others that we've seen in this round is that you never quite knew who was going to take it.
Yeah, because I think you can make an argument that Inzaghi may have said to himself, you know what, we're actually doing quite well because we're going to be dangerous on the counter. And if indeed we're going to create chances, those chances will come on counter-attacking opportunities. And they did. You look at the chance from Marcus Thuram, that's 100% a chance. Barella runs through and essentially runs out of legs and is unable to actually make the contact that he wants on the shot. But it's a 100% chance for Inter. And so if you're Inzaghi, you're looking at it and saying, you know what? The game is playing out the way that we thought it would. We've absorbed some pressure. Yeah, Atleti has had a couple of opportunities, but we've had chances ourselves. We put them away, we're through. They didn't. And I think the mistake from Inzaghi became getting, and Craig just alluded to it, too defensive for too long, yes, but too early as well. It felt like they got conservative too early, and that allowed Atletico Madrid, who weren't exactly in control of the game in the second half, to really take a step forward. And because of the substitutions, you finally saw players from Atletico Madrid on 1v1 situations like Rodrigo Riquelme, who can be a little reckless, but in that recklessness, he creates chaos. He goes 1v1 situations, he beats a defender, puts a cross in, and now you're forcing Inter to defend in uncomfortable areas. Same thing with Angel Correa. He's a wild card. You don't really know what he's going to do, but when he turns on you, when he creates a little space for himself, he can be dangerous. Memphis Depay comes off the bench and makes a tremendous impact and a tremendous difference, certainly when you contrast it to whatever Alvaro Morata was doing or not doing on the field. You have a guy like Memphis Depay that, on the time that he was on the field, he changed the outlook of the attack for Atletico Madrid, was dangerous right away, hits a post, scores a goal, and has concept in terms of the team play. How do I bring other players around me into the field and into the play? Atletico Madrid in the second half, they got on the front foot. I think that was encouraged by Inter being so deep. And in the end, Atletico Madrid takes advantage of it and goes through. And I think deservedly so. Inter is going to look at the missed chances from the first 90 minutes. And they're going to look at the missed chances in the second half. But this is not about missed chances. This is about taking opportunities, and Atletico Madrid did just enough.
This was an engrossing tie, yeah, Frank?
I mean, it's very interesting to see how, from details, we can go to a conclusion of what people did wrong or right. And it was very interesting to see that Inter, in fact, got their best chances and dominated the game after 15 minutes of the first half. And it's when they scored the goal where they played the best football, where they tried to go forward. And as soon as they decided to go and be more defensive, like they thought it was clever. It was more clever for them to do that. And Inzaghi was trying to secure maybe the score. It's when they got in danger. It was a very fine margin that Atletico got better, but they deserved that win because they tried. They tried more than Atletico, and I'm 100% with Craig and Ali in that matter, because you have the feeling that if Inter would have tried a little bit more, they would have won that game. But because they didn't, Atleti deserved to win that tie.
Did Inzaghi's substitutions cost him tonight, Gab?
No. No. I think Ali nailed it in what he said. I don't think you can blame Simone Inzaghi. This is what got them to the point where they got. He always uses all his substitutes. He really believes in this kind of 16 starters, and I think you have to respect that. I think what really messed Inter up, and if you want to point fingers, it's conceding that goal 2 minutes after you scored, due to kind of two freak individual errors from Benjamin Pavard, and then Griezmann gets lucky that the ball sits up to him. Could have gone anywhere off of Bastoni, right? And I think that's maybe where Inzaghi glitched. Maybe that's when they could have said, all right, that was unlucky. Let's go and score another one against these guys, because we are a better team, and we showed it. Beyond that, even with sitting too deep, as we mentioned, those two chances, the Barella one, whatever, he ran out of legs, but the Thuram one, I mean, the guy has all the time in the world to set himself and beat Jan Oblak, and he doesn't. And, the reality of football is, if you don't take your chances, doesn't matter if you're the better team in the first leg or over 180 minutes or whatever, individuals don't take their chances, individuals make mistakes, you pay a price.
Or you can look at, they had their chances, but you can look at the post being hit by Depay, you can look at the soft finish on the right foot from Griezmann, from the cutback from Marcus Llorente, and the Riquelme chance at the back. They were probably at least an equal of what Inter had. Two things from me, and by the way, that to Gab's point, that goal that Inter gave away so soon is one of the most, and I don't know from a manager's perspective, but from a player's, and I would imagine it's the same, if not worse, from a player's perspective, it's one of the most frustrating things on a football field. When you score such a good goal that Inter scored, down that left-hand side, the passage you play, down the left-hand side, the overlaps, the finish, and you've worked so hard to get into that position, you're now 2 goals up in the tie, and you gift almost immediately a lifeline. It is so frustrating as a player. It's deflating. It is deflating, and Gab's right. That knocked them back onto the ropes. So that was a big blow for them. But I'd say 2 of the things he did brilliantly tonight we're looking at small tactical details. One's not so much tactical. The best thing he did was taking Morata off.
Yep.
The best thing he did. Right? Because it wasn't happening for him. The other thing that was a small noticeable difference was Axel Witsel playing in the middle of a 3. Now, quite a lot recently, and when he was in the San Siro playing Inter, he played on the right side of a 3. For me, that's a recipe for disaster, because he hasn't got the legs anymore. Not that he ever had, but he certainly doesn't now. And I think when you're on that right side of a back 3, and if your right wing back Molena's pushing on, you're exposed. You're exposed to pace and power and the ball over the top. And the fact that he moved him inside and Savic played there, I think took away some of the pressure where Witsel could then read the game. He didn't have to be out there marking a Thuram or a Lautaro Martinez who were coming short and spinning in behind. So that was a good move from Simeone. I'm surprised he's even played him out there in the first place. But I think that definitely helped him. And 2 teams that are very close. But, I think Inter, when they look back, will think, well, at the end of the day, we should have come in here to the Wanda Metropolitana 3-0 up. Yeah. But we didn't take our chances, and we've now paid the price.
How's this going to be received in Spain?
Well, Diego Simeone once again gets it right. So when he was telling his players to calm down, listen, they're losing 1-0 at Inter Milan and it's late, and instead of going and chasing a goal, he's saying, no, we'll take the 1-0 back to the Civitas Metropolitano, right?
Metropolitano, I'm not having any.
Okay, all right. We'll take it home. And at home, we're a different team. And we asked yesterday the question as to whether Simeone would change the approach and really the attitude and mindset of Atletico Madrid, and that was clear to see. That they were willing to pressure in numbers higher up the field. And it's not just the strikers. It's not the line of midfielders that come in behind. Also the center backs. As that first outlet ball is coming out from Inter, you see Savic stepping in. You see Witsel stepping in. Hermoso stepping in to win that ball. And that allowed Atletico Madrid to be certainly much higher up the field, to regain possession much higher up the field, also expose them for counterattack opportunity and really expose the fact that guys like Koke can't quite get around all that much. But it's a chance that you needed to take and a risk you needed to take given the circumstances. But it's a risk that Simeone doesn't always take with Atletico Madrid. He did today, and it paid off for him and Atletico Madrid.
Opposite, how will this be received in Italy, Gab?
I think people are going to view it as a wasted opportunity from Simone Inzaghi, and I think they're going to wonder, wait, it's what? It's not even mid-March yet. What do we do the rest of the year? Because obviously they've locked up the title. I think it's going to be a blow to Inter because it obviously means less revenue. It may be a blow to some degree in the all-important coefficient ratings. Italy currently first on the season, which will determine which two countries get that 5th Champions League spot. So it's going to have undoubtedly a knock-on effect. I think in the end we shouldn't lose sight of what Inter have achieved in this season. But you know what? To be honest, if you go back to the group stage, Inter didn't play great in the group stage either. That's why they finished second in the group, and Atleti were top seeds, right? So. Overall, I think this season, certainly in the Champions League, we haven't seen the best of Inter.
Last point on this game to you, Frank, if you want it.
No, I just think that Griezmann, we didn't see Griezmann a lot because he came back from injury. But every time he touched the ball, he did something special. And the last action on the Riquelme, which I think should have scored, is just pure magic. And he had some control, some movement, and he was lucky on the goal. But he's always there at the right spots, and he feels the game. And I was very amazed by his performance. He played 100 minutes where he didn't play for the last 4 games. So I was very impressed. I was disappointed by, of course, Benjamin Pavard's mistakes and by Marcus Thuram, who didn't score a goal. So good performance for one French guy, not that good for 2 others.
Very much a French theme there.
Yeah, I know. I know that very much went down a
What happened? What?
cul-de-sac. Atleti, of course, have had a fantastic record at home this season. This continues to add to that. 21 games. Just that one defeat, of course, which is against Athletic Club in the Copa del Rey, and they'll be looking to continue that fine home form this weekend as they take on Barcelona. That is our big game, of course, on Sunday, which will be live on ESPN Plus with our coverage starting at 3:30 Eastern. Before that, on Saturday, Real Madrid away against Osasuna.